For Newcastle, of course, still in search of their first victory of the season. Well, for more on this, let's welcome in, shall we? John Hutchison is with us. Mark Ogden joins us as well. He'll be talking about some big transfer rumours a little later on, including Donnarumma to Manchester City. But we'll kick things off here in the studio. Craig, I don't think anyone who watched that game can say anything but Liverpool got away with that.
Liverpool have had 3 competitive games so far, if you consider the Community Shield, which they lost on penalties, where they did not play well. The Bournemouth game and this game. And I think at the moment, you know, the league table won't lie, it's 6 points, but there's more questions than answers now. And they were dominated for long periods in the first half. We saw that Anthony Gordon header before he gets sent off. And what saved Liverpool was the fact that Newcastle are lightweight in the forward area. There's no Callum Wilson, obviously, there's no Alexander Isak, who's been the big story. And at half-time, we sat down with a cup of tea and said, well, this second half is going to be boring.
Yes. Because
the Liverpool goal, which was brilliant, and fair play to the youngster, I'd love to see that. The Liverpool goal, which was brilliant the way they passed it, was what Stevie was shouting for them to do for the whole second half, was make Newcastle chase the ball and tire themselves out with the one man less. They did not do that. And Newcastle, for their credit, with 10 men, were absolutely brilliant. Obviously, a body blow for them at the end. Anthony Gordon can bow his head. It was a bad challenge. It was a reckless challenge. It was a needless challenge. That put them behind the 8 ball. But fair play to Newcastle for their guts, their endeavour and the way they played. But I think from Liverpool's perspective, the things we saw in the Community Shield defensively are the things we saw in the Bournemouth game, are the things we saw in this game. So I think from that perspective, there's a lot of work for Arne Slot still to do.
How can they have created so little in the second half, and how could they have looked like the team that had a man sent off?
Well, because they stopped playing, you know, and actually on the field of play, particularly Van Dijk and Mo Salah, you know, the experienced guys, Gravenberg in the middle, they should have been on each other and play. Basically what I was screaming at during the second half was they should be playing two-touch football. Get it out your feet and roll it, get it out your feet and roll it, get it out your feet. You do that against 10 men, number one, they won't be able to get near you. Number two, you'll kill them. The legs will go. Instead of that, everybody was having 3 and 4 touches. It was negative. Kerekes, I don't think he played a ball forward all game. He absolutely looks derived of confidence. Everything he does looks like a struggle. He got done for fun by Alanga in the first half about 3 times. Didn't get close to him. And then, of course, he's the one for me that really started this whole second half. Because at 2-0, I said to you, surely this is done. But no. But that's the main point. Yes, Newcastle, you have to give them credit.
Right.
Boy, did they keep going, fighting. But Liverpool, and this is not by chance, as Craig said. This is 3 in the trot. But somehow, they've got 9 goals in 3 games, and they haven't played well yet.
Yeah, 9 points in 3 games.
They didn't finish the season well, if you remember. Well, the second half of the season was not anything like the first half of the season. They fell off the pace. They went out of the Champions League. They went out of the FA Cup. Yeah, he made a lot of changes when they played down at Plymouth. But they sort of spluttered to the title. They won the title, but they sort of rumbled their way there. They've had this perceived great transfer summer, and on the face of it, it looks like it, but it just feels, albeit with the 2 victories, it just feels that the players that are coming in are not quite gelling yet with the players that are already there. And it's a bit disjointed. It's defensively, it doesn't look like a very good structure. And also, you know, you've taken an extra midfielder out. I know McAllister wasn't around, but you've taken an extra midfielder out, essentially, and you've bought the so-called one of the best, you know, attacking number 10s in European football, and Florian Wirtz, which he is. So you're a man down in terms of a natural midfielder, but can we honestly say so far what we've seen from Florian Wirtz that's made you get off your seat? We haven't actually seen that either. So, you know, they've scored goals. He hasn't played particularly well. Maybe that will come. But defensively, and again, the Kerekes, Van Dijk scenario on that left-hand side, that was the one at Wembley that got torn apart by Crystal Palace. And again, that area looked pretty weak tonight.
Yeah, it talked me through Florian Wirtz? Because when he arrived on, there was no doubt this was a brilliant signing. What a coup for Liverpool to get in the head of Bayern Munich. And we're only 3 games in. I know that, and we're going to jump to conclusions. But we haven't really seen too much at all, have we, from the youngster?
No, I think when you come from the Bundesliga and you come into the Premier League, the intensity is totally different. It's a physical game. That's why Liverpool struggled in the second half, because they got sucked into playing Newcastle's way. That's why they never kept the ball. I thought out of the 4 defenders at the back, I thought Liverpool had 2 outstanding performers. Szoboszlai at right back and Van Dijk never lost a header. Kirkeggs was weak, as Stevie said, for the headed goal from Bruno Guimaraes. And Konate was shaky and weak. He never won a header all evening. But you look for the likes of Florian Wirtz in the second half. When it's 11 v 10, you look for the likes of him to get on the ball. You want him to be the man that's going to show for it. You want him to be the man who's intelligent, who'll find the space, who'll find the pocket, and then take that game, especially in the second half when they were 2-0 up, even at 2-1, when Newcastle started to go that bit longer and they bombarded Newcastle with Liverpool with long throws. You're looking for the likes of Florian Wirtz to show for the ball, get on it, take Liverpool from a defensive area into the top third and calm everyone down where they can then keep hold of the ball. So I think the biggest difference from him and young players that come in, young, slight players that come in with loads of technical ability, is adjusting to the Premier League and how ferocious it can be.
We're only 2 games in, match day 2, and already we're seeing some shockers from VAR. And Simon Hooper, OK, misses the challenge, and VAR corrects him on the Anthony Gordon challenge, which was correct. Yesterday, we saw the goal, the penalty kick rightly given against Bassey, and then Yoro pushing Bassey, and it's a clear push in the back for that goal, and nothing's given. And today, Newcastle deservedly got a player sent off, and Liverpool, they get away with it.
Second yellow, Craig, can't check it, can they? That's the problem.
But it wasn't a second yellow.
Kanate's already on a yellow.
No, it was a straight red.
You think a straight red for that? You go that strong on?
No, he's through on goal, and he's pushed him in the back.
It's not even an argument.
So I mean, there's no attempt to play the ball, and he's pushed him. I know they can't check for a second yellow, but it looked to me as if he was heading to the edge of the penalty area. Right. That's denying a clear goal-scoring opportunity. So unless we've missed something and there was a player covering, I don't think so. The consistency or lack of these decisions already 2 games in is quite scary.
Mark, I massively put you on the spot here, and I apologise for it. I meant to ask you before. Rio Ngumoha, there's been a lot of hype about him already, hasn't he? Liverpool got him from Chelsea.
Yeah, he came in as a kid from Chelsea, it was some deal to do, because obviously Chelsea don't let their best players go, but Liverpool brought him in. They thought it was a real star for the future, but he's only 16. I think he's 17 in a couple of days. But obviously, to come off the bench, deep in injury time, score a winning goal at Newcastle, it's a thing of dreams, isn't it? We've had a big weekend this week with Max Dermott at Arsenal as well. These young kids, but he's a player that has got a lot of promise. But I don't think he's going to be the long-term option ahead of Alexander Isak. But I think we're going to get onto that shortly, aren't we?
We most certainly will. Just talk us through how cool, composed, how brilliant that is from a 16-year-old to do that at that time of a match, coming on as a substitute.
Do you know the biggest thing, or the most impressive thing for me is that he's got so long in terms of knowing what's going on.
Right.
It may just be a second, but that's a long time when you know the ball's coming. We all could see the dummy was coming. He knows it's coming. And to have so long and be so inexperienced and to hold your composure and actually hit it perfectly in terms of the strike and hit it perfectly into the right place because the goalkeeper's coming across the other way, so he's never going to be able to get it. It just made it look so easy. And so the composure for somebody of 16 years of age, frightening.
There was a game last year, I can't remember the name, there was a game and it was Man City, might have been a cup game, and Guardiola threw on a kid, right? He threw on a kid who had this great chance to salvage something in the last seconds of the game, and the youngster skied a very similar opportunity.
The cup final, wasn't it?
It was the cup final. It was the cup final against City. He brought on a youngster who was wet behind the ears, and he had this huge moment, and he wasted this big chance, which was absolutely understandable. And when this ball fell to this youngster tonight, I'm thinking the same thing, and nothing against Newcastle, but I'm so pleased that he didn't sky it over the bar, because for a youngster, you know, that's that big moment, it's the confidence, all that sort of stuff, but it can happen so easily. That's my point. Wembley Stadium, the big moment, skies this thing over the bar. Here we are, St James's Park. You're on the ropes for a good 30, 35 minutes in the second half. Finally, you create something and you're under no pressure, and it was a terrific finish from the youngster, so composed, and obviously gets the 3 points. But it's something, as Stevie said, you expect from an experienced player.
Right.
And that could easily have been a shank or something that went miles over the bar. So fair play to the young man.
Of course, the transfer window closes September the 1st, Oggy. The latest, obviously, Isak was a big talking point, didn't feature today for Newcastle. What's the latest on Isak?
Well, the latest is that it's been reported in Newcastle tonight is that the co-owner of Newcastle, Jamie Rubin, met with Isak before the game at his home outside of Newcastle, Isak's home, to basically try and convince him to stay. Not to convince him, but tell him he's staying. He can't be sold this window because Newcastle just haven't got the time to get anybody in. They need 2 strikers. They've let Callum Wilson go. They can't afford to let Isak go as well. So I've heard that the deal is that Isak will stay for another season at least, get a new contract out of it, which Newcastle and Isak's camp won't kind of broadcast this publicly, but there will probably be escape clause in their release clause. Let him go in the summer. We've seen it before. Luis Suarez tried to leave Liverpool in 2014. He stayed. Harry Kane tried to leave Tottenham 3 or 4 years ago for Man City. He stayed. But Suarez left a year later. Harry Kane left a year later. And the compromise with Isak is that calm it all down, commit yourself for a bit longer, get a pay rise out of it, and then give us time to find somebody to come in next summer. That's the obvious solution. But the thing is, next summer, if that's what happens and Isak stays, I imagine that clubs like Barcelona will suddenly emerge to rival Liverpool. So this could be Liverpool's big chance to get Isak. Maybe their only chance. But I think they've run out of time because Newcastle can't get anybody else in.
But those players you mentioned, that maybe they wanted, well, they did want to leave, but they didn't do it in a manner in which has been so egregious, it seems, on the face of it. And he's going to have to potentially, at this stage, because of the problems Newcastle would have in getting an adequate replacement in for Eddie Howe, he's going to have to get the tin helmet on. Because he's made his stance very clear. Very, very clear. And I think I might be wrong, but it seems to me the Newcastle fans are extremely angry with him. Whether they would accept him back for a 6-month or a 10-month period, I don't know. I don't know, but he's put himself in a real tricky position with the supporters.
OK, I don't mean to interrupt, but we've talked about Isak a lot, and I've got a lot to go through today. What I want to talk about is what we've seen from Liverpool over the last couple of games. The transfer window closes, of course, as I mentioned, soon. Yep. Is there a priority that they should follow up to try and help them defend their title? Do they need more players, or are they set where they are?
I cannot imagine that I'm the only person on the planet that thinks they need another centre-back.
Right.
Whether it's to kick Kanati up the backside and make him more consistent at a better level than he's been so far, or whether you sign something and get him to play. But to me, that's it. I would like to see another forward, but more importantly, I would like to see a centre-back.
Gay is obviously the name that's been linked over the last couple of weeks, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, Gay is the one that Liverpool think they can do, because Gay is contracted up at the end of the season at Crystal Palace. Palace have made it clear, Palace chairman Steve Parish has said that it's a problem for them for Gueye to leave on a free transfer. Gueye said that he's happy to stay, so I think that is a deal that can be done, because it's a relatively inexpensive deal, because, you know, Mark Gueye at £40 million is the figure that's being quoted, would be a very good deal for Liverpool to do. In terms of the forwards, I've been told that they're not going to, if they can't get Isak, that'll be it. They're not going to sign a player just for the sake of it. Now, Arne Slot thinks that Frimpong can play further forward as a winger, Wirtz can play further forward. They've brought in Ekitike, they've got Mo Salah, they have got the numbers, but obviously you'd prefer Liverpool to have an extra striker, but it's Isak or nobody.